Hello and welcome to my review of the third arc of the question arc for Higurashi, Tatarigoroshi. In this I will be talking about the story itself and my experience as a reader, what I liked and what I didn't like. If you're interested in my ideas/theories about solving some of the questions in this arc or the other arcs, there will be a theory video. Obviously, if you're writing, or not obviously, if you're watching this video right now, it is not up currently, but in a couple weeks it should be up. You can find it on the channel, either just searching or through the playlist, through the Tatarigoroshi playlist, or through the, I think there's a theory and review playlist somewhere. So yeah. What did I think of Tatarigoroshi? I'm not sure if I enjoyed it more than Watanashi. I don't know. It's pretty, I thought it was pretty great though. I think after I read all of the question arcs, then I can probably put it all together and see what I liked the most or the least. But this was a pretty good experience. It brought a lot of interest in. I think it's a very, because for each arc you definitely want it to bring something different, and this was definitely a different experience than Higurashi and Watanashi. I think first they did skim, there wasn't a lot of club scenes where they were just super fun, and those were super enjoyable, but instead we got a lot of wholesome stuff at the beginning with Satoko and Rita, kind of acting as a replacement for the fun stuff, which is good. It's fine. Obviously I will always enjoy watching some club activities, but the wholesome stuff was really special and heartwarming in its own way, with the two adorable characters. If you've been following me, then it's common knowledge that I really like Satoko from the first arc on. So I guess Satoko and Rita are both two different types of cute, and I guess I prefer the Satoko type. So it was very good watching the bond between Keiichi and Satoko throughout this one. Good and obviously sad as it develops, but very interesting. Probably one of the more interesting bonds established and how it plays out through the arc. Obviously another notable one is Keiichi and Mion through Watanashi, but that one, I don't think obviously it's a central part to the story, but it doesn't go as it doesn't examine it as deep as Satoko and Keiichi. So that was pretty interesting. This also feels like the first arc that the author did that had a solid message he wanted to convey with it. And by message I mean some of the thematics, not the actual story, but something outside of the story about the child care system in Japan. Obviously he's commented on there's easy messages you can find throughout the other arts, stuff about the wars or wars in general and isolationism, small town versus big city sort of stuff. But this felt a lot more direct to me, and I've made comments about that. I think that was the first time I was a little bit irritated from one of the earlier episodes in the read-through of Tatarigoroshi, where I was getting a little frustrated. There's two factors. One, Keiichi was super frustrated, and at this point on, you definitely really connect with Keiichi. He wasn't my favorite character in the first arc, but after so many hours of just spending time with him, looking through his eyes and all that stuff, you definitely sympathize with him a lot more. So I felt it with Keiichi. I was also very frustrated at people just saying no, we can't do anything and stuff like that. And two, I just don't really being lectured at. Like, I'm fine with someone who has a lot more knowledge on this subject to teach me and tell me about it, but it definitely came across, at least for some parts, the parts where I was frustrated more, it came off as lecturing, like saying how it is without any question to it. So I think it was just a mixture of those two, and it wasn't exact. And again, it's not really a big negative in the whole of things, since it was only a small part for like an episode or a session or two of reading. And obviously some people won't get as affected as me, who are either not as connected or doesn't have that problem. So, I mean, again, he's very educated on this subject because he was a child care worker, either writing this or before writing this. So if anyone's gonna tell me about it, it would be him. It's just that I don't personally like that sort of style. But that's just me. It's personal. It's a more personal thing. It's not really bad writing or anything. It's just how I felt, and it was a lot more. It was a lot more direct message. I usually like if you want a message, just spread it out throughout the series, and it usually will come across. Like the whole stuff with like isolating themselves, or like village isolation against outsiders is like the common message, and I think that's spread out pretty nicely where it doesn't really interrupt the flow, unlike this one, which is kind of like thrown at your face. But again, it's a good message. It's good to make awareness for this stuff, and it didn't ruin my experience. It's just like the only time I was a little bit frustrated in the series, so I thought it was worth bringing it up. I liked also how while this obviously was a fresh story, there's a lot of little connections to Anokakashi, like a lot of parts that felt like it can parallel with Anokakashi, while Watanagashi was just a completely different story. So that was kind of neat, like how Teichi was being followed by those footsteps, quote unquote, whatever they were, or thought he was being followed by it. And they touched on it a bit in Anokakashi, where he thought he was being followed too, and he like swung his bat, whatever, and broke the door. So it's kind of similar in that sense. And when Teichi was trying to kill the uncle in this one, or chasing him down and killing him, it obviously paralleled to Teichi being chased in Anokakashi by Rena. So that was a pretty cool parallel, switching the point of views and stuff. A lot of little stuff like that, which might also be a hint to solving the story. But again, I won't get into that. It was just a very interesting choice. I also thought they introduced a lot of points that I expected that they would touch up on, which might help solve the story, but they kind of just didn't. Like, I thought they would go more into Shion, and she would teach us more about Satoshi, since they kind of established that they might have sort of a relationship. But that just, like, never happened. We just never saw Shion again. Or at least we didn't think we saw Shion if she switched her disguise to Neon. Which I didn't notice in the story if it did happen. Actually, no, there was that one time through the phone call that I suspected it was Shion, but yeah. And there's like, I thought this would be the arc where we learn more about Takano, since I've been asking for an arc where either Tomotaki or Takano, or both of them, live throughout the Watanagashi, just so we can know more about them. But they kind of baited that she and Teichi might have like some problems in the future, but that also never happened. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Honestly, it's surprising, at least, and I mean surprising in a good and I guess as someone who's trying to figure out the story, with theories and stuff, a little bit of a bad way, but not like bad as in enjoyment, just bad in not helping me, because it's been a little bit rough coming up with theories for this one, to be honest. What else should we talk about? I think character development. Again, Teichi was great. It's always, I'm surprised they actually, because like in the first one he was super paranoid, and in the second one he was more level-headed and was able to figure stuff out a bit, at least think stuff through. So I was thinking like this would be more like that, but then he was different because of his newfound strong bond with Satoko. We got a whole new Teichi, which was fun and entertaining, because I thought those two Teichis from the first two would be like what we were gonna see. Like I was either expecting like another level-headed Teichi. I expected another level-headed Teichi, but it was completely different, so that was cool. I mean, some of the Teichi monologues were pretty. Some of them were pretty cringy pre-killing the Yanto. Like I lost it when after like Satoko broke, and it was like it broke when Teichi tried to pat her head or whatever, and it was like a super sad scene, and then you just get this out-of-body experience, and Teichi's like, oh, I'm transcended, let me create this image of Satoko's house, and let me calculate the algorithm of the people walking by, and I was just like, what is this? It's so funny. It was like, Transcendent Teichi was funny, and I mean it made sense, right? Because he's still a teenager, so if a teenager was gonna go on a killing vendetta, he would have like this. I could see a cringy monologue coming out. And at the same time, even though it was cringy, they did show obviously the struggles of killing someone, because he did like hesitate throughout the act of planning about it and stuff, because he is a kid, obviously. Like maybe as a kid you have a stronger will to actually kill someone, because your brain isn't as developed, and the consequences and the reality of killing one isn't as hammered in your head, so it made sense in that aspect. And it's the fear of actually killing someone as a teenager. There's also another aspect, so it was pretty cool. I think the whole planning, when he actually started his plan and going into the act of killing Teppei the Yanto, I thought that was very neat. Like I said before, it's almost a POV switch of in a more extreme case of Rena chasing Keiichi. You didn't, if anything, you expected Keiichi to be chased and killed, so it was interesting to see Keiichi actually chase and kill someone too. It's pretty disturbing in its own way, like him trying to rationalize that like Teppei wasn't a human, he's an animal, so it's okay to kill him and stuff. So that was pretty fun. Fun as a reader, maybe not fun as itself, but very entertaining stuff. I mean, music's great. I've loved the Higurashi OST, and then I've been avoiding Googling stuff and searching just because I don't want to risk any spoilers. But it's always a jam. Maybe I will try to download some of them just to put over this video, since I've been for other more commentary videos been putting background music, so maybe I can do that. But it's been good. This is the first time I've patched the original OST to the arc. I think the last two I didn't. Well, the first one I definitely didn't, and the second one I meant to, but I think I messed up somehow, so it didn't end up happening, and I was too lazy to like reinstall the patch and start the game again and just catch up, because I'd have to listen to the music too, right? So it was good. I mean, again, I will say that there were a couple of hard bangers, if I do say so myself, from the new OST, but there's a lot I liked about this one. There was again, don't know their names. There's a lot of more. There's a really good like somber one. If you watched a playthrough, I usually point out. I probably pointed out the same song multiple times, but I do point out some of the songs I like. So if you're really interested, I wish I could. If I do, if I'm not lazy, I will put it in the description. But I'm a pretty lazy person. I mean, CGs. I usually talk about art. The CGs were good. Were there any ones I loved? I mean, the whole baseball game scene. I mean, that was a really fun scene too. So I guess they didn't remove all the fun stuff, because that baseball scene was a good meme. But I remember the Satoto CG of that was good. I don't know, good quality CGs. They didn't drop in quality, not like I expected it to. Voice acting on point as always. Lots of screaming. I think this was the first time we heard Satoto scream. I guess it doesn't give me as much joy as some of the other streams, just because of how much I like Satoto, and most of her streams are kind of makes me sad. Even at the ending where he's just like screaming at Keiichi, I was like, oh, it's not as fun. But yeah, finally we get Satoto. All I'm waiting for is Rita streams. I can't even imagine it. I can't even imagine a Rita stream. Also, talking about Rita quickly, her death CG was very cool, with like the crows and showing what actually happened or whatever. I thought that was very neat. That might actually be my favorite one for serious. But yeah, lots of screaming. Rena's screams were pretty. Maybe I should go through some of the characters. I'll do that after this. But I think we got the angriest Keiichi stream in this one, right after when he found Satoto being boiled in the bathtub or whatever. Like, that was pretty insane. Lots of Keiichi streaming, which is like my favorite aspect of the voice stuff. I still think my favorite is from Tatarigoroshi when he was screaming at Mion over the phone, thinking it was Shion like for the first time. That was like such a good monologue, but it was a very good quality streams throughout the stuff. So I already talked about Keiichi, but Rena's character was also interesting because obviously in the first one, when you think of Rena, you think of crazy, dead, fish-eyed Rena. In Tatarigoroshi, you think of a level-headed, more self-aware Rena. And in the beginning, or the first half of Tatarigoroshi, there were moments where you could sense that she was being kind of creepy, but it didn't show. And in this one, you got the level-headed Rena with some angry spurts in them. Like, there's that very good scene. Forgot the episode. I think it was the same one where I was a bit frustrated, where Rena popped off on Keiichi, and I was just like, oh god, it's so good. But yeah, she's level-headed, but it's almost like she just has mental outbursts too. And then she turned spooky for a bit near the end, like the Anatatashi one. Mion, it was interesting. Oh yeah. There was I forgot to mention that too. Another, I guess it would go with the story points that weren't really fulfilled. Like I was talking before about how I thought Shion would talk about Satoshi or more Takano. The fact that Mion, like Keiichi revealed that he knew Mion was part of a mafia family. I thought that would definitely, something like that would happen. Would cause some consequences, and I don't think that happened, unless like the only thing that might have, and I guess this is a sneak peek for a theory, but the only like real penalty that actually came out of it is maybe they killed Rita, just because it said that she was killed in a Tatarigoroshi. They described it as they described it. It sounded like one of those Tatarigoroshi killings with the guts ripping out, so maybe they assumed that Rita told Keiichi, and that's why they did it, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So I thought that was pretty interesting, and the fact that like Keiichi knew about the whole mafia thing and how the relationship changed a bit, but honestly not too much. Like Keiichi still treated me on the same, which is kind of sweet, because again I still I think they're talking about comments, and like I was talking with a viewer through comments, and they're talking how like Rena and Keiichi were their favorite parents. I still like Mion on Keiichi. Like Keiichi still being like friends with Mion and being understanding with him, even though he knows that she's like the next leader of a mafia, was kind of cute. I enjoyed that. Rita was honestly the same. I mean, I think this one she made a lot more noises, Rita noises, which I like. Again, I said that Satoka's more adorable, but those Rita noises are they're too much, man. The meeps, it was mainly, what was it? It was like meeps, and then there's like a, Nipa? Nipa? It was hilarious. So it was good comedy, like you ask Rita in question, and then she's just like, meep. I'm like, oh, okay, thanks Rita for your input. But yeah, Rita's an interesting character. I think she hasn't gotten too much backstory development, but it's pretty obvious that she is involved. Like I said, she's either involved with, like, I mean, I think it's already confirmed that she's involved with like the town council or whatever. Like I thought she might have been like a participant, or at least a viewer of like the Watanadashi ceremonial killings, and then they dropped like the knowledge bomb that some people think that Rita's like the second coming of Oyashiro-sama or something. So I'm excited because that's the bonus round or whatever for the question arc. Just have Rita as the cover character, so Rita backstory should be fun. But Rita's Rita. How can you hate Rita, right? So Satoka was interesting because, well, we've gotten a lot of Satoka. We haven't seen like this like. Seeing Satoka super depressed was, I mean, it was hard to watch, but it was very well done. Like you're definitely supposed to feel depressed, and I was pretty much sad whenever they showed the sad Satoka. And obviously I don't really know about child abuse and stuff, but I feel like they portrayed it very, like he wanted to portray it as something super negative and stuff, which it is, and he did a very good job at that. It was very hard watching the whole ordeal, hence my frustration with alongside Keiichi for the others for giving up so easily. But yeah, Satoka was interesting. I don't think we got as deep as we did with Mion, because I still think Mion's the character that I think I know the most about, or at least understand the most. And I mean, I guess Satoka's character might not be as deep as Mion, but I think I can say I have a firm grasping about Satoka, and I still really liked it. Yeah, side characters, I mean, we got no Shion. I thought Shion might have been a big part, but not really. The Takano scene was very great. Was there a scene that I loved the most? Because I could say that about the other arcs. Like the first arc, I loved the Rena chase scene. Second arc, it has to be like the sad montage before the reveal that Shion and Mion are different people. What about this one? Is there an MVP scene that I really loved? I mean, I guess the contenders would be chasing down Teppei. This really surprising and different ending was also very good. The baseball game meme was pretty good. I mean the wholesome stuff too. Let's give it to... Well, since I'm not 100% certain, I might change my opinion in the future. But I guess... I kind of don't want to say the ending. Oh, I guess we'll talk about the ending to finish this off after. But, maybe... I'll give it to the baseball scene. That was hilarious. Yeah, I mean, maybe I take back about, like, trading, like, this club fun stuff with wholesomeness, because that was probably one of the better club scenes. That was so much fun. Yeah, baseball scene. The Satoto 200 IQ, plan. Keiichi's, bribing / manipulating the star pitcher. That was gold. And finally, to wrap this off, the ending it's great, right? It kind of, again, it's theorizing about stuff. I don't know if it's harder, but interesting. But it was a very sudden and different ending. It was very reminiscent to some of the Umineko stuff, which I don't really want to go through because this is a Higurashi review and I don't want to spoil anything if you haven't read through all of Umineko already. But it gave me that sort of vibe about, like, but yeah, I liked it. I mean, you know, the first one you get Keiichi dying, second one you get Keiichi maybe dying, and this one you get Keiichi. This is the no wait, he dies at the end, right? It was a good ending. It was just very weird, and it was a lot to take in. I don't even know if I've processed everything throughout the ending now. Nice meme with the credits. I did look back and there's like a bunch of like words that weren't English, but they were just reversed. So good job on that. Anyways, great reading experience as always. I don't expect myself to really hate an arc, but who knows, maybe I will in the future. Let's hope not. And I mean, it's been pretty uphill throughout this. This was pretty great. It made me feel a lot of different feelings that I didn't feel throughout the arc, which is always nice as a reader, and hopefully it will continue to be good. I do know that the next arc is a bonus arc, so there might not be as much to it, but it should be fun. So if you're interested in the theories that will be up later, or if you're watching this later, then it should be on the channel. If you're interested in the playthrough itself, read through itself, I'm calling whatever, they're the same thing, then it's all on the channel. So hopefully you enjoyed this, and let me know if you agree or disagree with any of the points, or just want to bring something up. And hopefully I'll see you next time, either in the theory video, or if you skip that, and the next start, which should start relatively soon after uploading the theory video. But bye for now.